holding it just, yeah, this is literally just hang out right here. This is perfect. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 107 of Convos on the Pedicab. I'm here with Joeylynn Mesaros. You got a little bit. You're getting sued by Joe Biden. Let's just get it. Let's get it out of the open. Move your finger a little bit. Yeah, cool. You're getting sued by Joe Biden.
We have my kid, my 11-year-old, is holding the phone right now. So, some technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's been a hectic start to the day. But we're excited. Anyway, yes, share.
Yeah, so I'm a stay-at-home mom in New Braunfels, Texas, and we are getting sued actually by Biden-Harris campaign staff, Democrat politicians, and White House officials, Biden-Harris supporters for flying Trump flags next to the Biden bus. There are no criminal charges associated with this. This is a civil complaint. So basically, these people are saying they're offended, traumatized, they have PTSD, and want to be financially compensated for our exercise of free speech and for us choosing to support President Trump.
So these are the staffers that are suing you?
Yeah, so basically in 2020 during early election, there was a team, this way a little bit more, that was on the Biden-Harris campaign bus in Texas doing a tour. And basically, these are white politicians that are saying that so we're getting sued under the Ku Klux Klan law of 1871.
What is that law? Can you explain that? Because I don't even know what that law is.
Yes, so that's a law that was put into place in the 1800s by Republicans who were trying to protect people of color that were, becoming emancipated from slavery and wanting to work, go to school, and vote. And the Ku Klux Klan, which was part of the Democrat Party, was still trying to keep these people as slaves and to keep them from these basic freedoms. And so the Republican Party established a Department of Justice, put the Ku Klux Klan into place, and made it a federal offense to, to persecute somebody for wanting to vote. And so they're suing us under the Ku Klux Klan law, saying that we were banding together on a public highway, like the Ku Klux Klan, to suppress black people and minority people from voting by our presence on the road that day, and that they're traumatized and offended by that and want to be financially compensated.
So how would you flying a Trump flag when there's a Biden bus and you're just following that bus within a respectable distance, how is that preventing anybody from voting?
We can't understand this to save our lives. This is basically lawfare. They are weaponizing the law system against average Americans for disagreeing with them, and they're completely fabricating this story. The people on the bus were not headed to vote, and there's
because
no
it was
way.
in October. It wasn't early vote. Was it during early voting?
So early voting did occur in October, and then the election was on November 2nd. But the individuals that were on the bus were merely campaigning for Biden and were not prevented physically or in any way from voting. We did not physically keep them from voting at the polls. And so this law hasn't even met the basic requirements of being used.
So what is their justification? You can hold it with that other hand.
Can he turn the camera around so that he can see what is happening? Because I feel like he's...
No, you're good. You're perfect. Jude, you're doing this perfectly.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You're perfect. All right. But what was I just saying? It was was what you were doing anyway? Could what you were doing be interpreted as preventing anybody from voting?
No.
No, right?
And that's what we're fighting.
Okay. Because was it when this bus was occurring? Because I think it's kind of ridiculous, right? But I'm just asking a hypothetical question. When this was happening, was early voting going on at the time that bus was doing what it was doing?
I believe it was during early voting. I need to check the dates for sure to know for sure. But again, in order to fulfill the requirements of using the Ku Klux Klan, there would need to be physical force or some sort of actual restraint involved from keeping somebody from utilizing a ballot or machine to make their vote.
Okay. And when you were with a whole group of people, right? Are you the only one getting sued, or is it the whole group of people that everybody was driving is getting sued?
There were hundreds of people there that day, and the bus drove hundreds of miles through Texas, and so in every town there was a different Trump train that drove with the bus, waiting for them. And so it's crazy. There's only 5 of us getting sued. My husband and I are 2 of them, and there are 3 others. And it's crazy that they just picked us out and separated us from the group.
What was the reason? Was there a reason for why they picked you out?
We can't figure that out either. We had the biggest flag.
Okay.
I had a Facebook post that they referenced in the civil complaint that said we were there that day and had fun, showing support for President Trump.
What did the post say exactly?
The post said we gave them a friendly Texas welcome and an escort out of town, and that was just
they could say that escort out of town could be used as threat. That's what I think they're trying to get you on.
They are.
We escorted them out of town, like you're trying to stop them from campaigning and speaking
exactly.
with vote. I think that's what they're trying. That's what they're probably trying to get you on.
I'm sure that it is. The reality is that in no way did we have any intent of actual. There was no actual escort. In fact, the police escorted them. We merely drove next to them on the road that day. We were just proud to show our support for President Trump and to represent our conservative values. And we wanted to get a cool picture and make the news. It's crazy with all that we see with the BLM riots, actually burning buildings down, physically blocking off roadways, damaging personal property, that for us just to put a flag on the vehicle and drive next to these people would be something we'd get sued for.
Yes. Well, and everything that happened this summer leading up to it did a lot more to suppress voters and intimidate people from voting than you driving your truck next to a bus.
Absolutely.
I think everybody with like half a brain and any semblance of common sense can kind of understand that.
Absolutely. I agree. And what's happening now, these people in positions of authority or with the administration using this law against us truly is voter intimidation, because people are now afraid to show support for President Trump, to get out there and exercise free speech for fear of that kind of backlash, because we've spent over $80,000 just trying to get this lawsuit dismissed. But
so what are they suing you for? How much money are they suing you for?
They haven't indicated how much they're suing us for. They have
When did you get the notice that you were being sued?
Well, we learned about it from CNN because they had a mainstream press release where they announced this worldwide media, and we didn't get served paperwork until 4 weeks after we heard about it on the news to really understand the scope of the lawsuit. So this happened last summer. It's been about 14 months since we heard about it on CNN, and about 13 months since we actually got served.
Okay, so Joey, all right, so you're getting sued by the Biden staffers. Is like Joe Biden and Harris actually suing you directly, or is
no? It's people who work for them in the White House and Democrat politicians here in Austin, like Wendy Davis.
Wait, Wendy Davis is her name is in the lawsuit. Who else? What other Democratic politicians in Austin are on that lawsuit?
So Wendy Davis is going to be a Texas politician. David Gins or Jins, I don't know how he pronounces it. He works for Kamala in the White House. Okay. We have Dr. Eric Cervini, that's a liberal influencer and author. We have Tim Holloway, that was the bus driver, and then there's one unnamed individual on the lawsuit. My child is struggling with holding this camera.
I know, I really appreciate it. This guy's awesome.
I don't know that he can keep this up for an hour.
Well, I'll hold it. If you can't do it, then I'll just switch it up and do it.
I'm sorry, my hand hurts.
That's fine. We're gonna have to do it this way.
Okay.
That's really cool. We appreciate you being a good sport, G. Thank you. All right. So repeat what you just said.
Yeah, so Wendy Davis is a Texas politician. She actually ran for governor against Greg Abbott.
Yes.
She was former state senator. She's very extreme. She's very, very far left, pro-abortion. And Dr. Eric Cervini, he wrote the Homosexuals War, or the Deviants War, the Homosexuals War on America. And David Jins, who works for Kamala Harris, and Tim Holloway, the bus driver.
Okay. So that's who's mentioning you in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Have you all right, so what kind of support have you got? Like, have you got any support from any conservative news outlets or conservative politicians, or even like regular independent journalists for what's happening? Because if this is if what you're telling me is 100% true, that is something that people do in dictatorships or in third world countries,
right.
and it should be, you know, and everyone's talking about how our democracy is being threatened. And what's happening is a war on our democracy. Suing people for actively disagreeing with your political stance is literally the personification of what a threat to democracy is. So I'm just wondering, like, who have you reached out to, and what kind of response have you been getting from people?
Alex, that's a great question. We've been reaching out to hundreds of people over and over since we found out about it last year. We have had very little response. So our local representatives are pretty uninvolved and non-responsive, from Kyle Biederman to Ted Cruz to Greg Abbott. There have been, we've received letters in the mail saying that they don't want to get involved, or saying they've misquoted the situation.
Who has sent you letters in the mail?
Ted Cruz.
What did they say?
It said that they did not wish to get involved with the matter because it was a legal matter. And Governor Abbott said in a town hall meeting, when somebody asked him what he was doing to support us, and he has never responded to any of our correspondence, that he said, oh, that lawsuit's been dismissed, and I beat Wendy Davis in the race for governor, and the lawsuit has not been dismissed. We spent $80,000 trying to get it dismissed, and we're headed to trial. So he really told the people that could have supported us.
He could have helped, and then he didn't help.
Yes.
So why should I even vote for Greg Abbott?
Oh my gosh. At this point, so that Beto doesn't win. But that's not the decision we should be faced with as voters. We should be voting in the right people that defend our constitutional rights and really stand up for we the people. I personally voted for Colonel Allen West, and
I voted for Don Huffines, but whatever.
I love Don Huffines. It was a tough decision for me between the two, but Colonel Allen West actually took us on his platform and gave us a voice. So for us, that was a big determining factor. And he wasn't even an elected official, and he cared more about this matter. And our local news outlets, all the way up to national news outlets, have been very, very non-responsive and unhelpful. We've had, at CPAC, we had a sponsor send us to CPAC, and we connected with Fox News there. A reporter named Jason Strantz said he was unwilling to take on our story. That's just not a story that he would be covering, and that's a pretty common response that we get.
This is literally why conservatives lose elections.
This is why.
This is why, because they're, when people actually need someone to have their back and they're being attacked, they talk a big game and they talk all tough when they tweet or they say all these things on the when they're in front of a camera. But when push comes to shove and it's actually time to take action, they adamantly refuse to help you.
But they send
really
out
shines
flyers
a light.
that say, we want your support. Well, we need your support. We've elected you to take care of us, and we're, as your constituents, you essentially work for us. And then
who's your congressman?
Chip Roy.
Have you reached out to him? I feel like Chip Roy would help you.
I have talked to Chip Roy. Chip Roy was actually running against Wendy Davis for Congress at the time. So had she won, she would have been our representative, and we would have been her constituents. He has been compassionate about it, and his right-hand man has been good to check in on us, but really we haven't gotten, they're on Tucker Carlson often and wish that they would make that connection for us, or like you said, linking up with independent journalists is something they've said that they're trying to massage, but it's been 14 months and we haven't made any progress on that, so I don't know really.
They haven't even shared any of your fundraiser. They could just share your fundraiser.
Yeah, so Chip Roy shared a photo of the Biden is the worst logo on his Facebook page, I think last year.
Well, that's cool.
But it didn't link to our story. It was just like, hey,
a
this
t-shirt.
is funny.
Okay.
And so it's I don't know if these people are afraid to get involved, if they're afraid to associate with us, if they're trying to be careful, or if they're just overwhelmed with other problems and issues. But it is really frustrating being on this side of the attack, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, my husband's a plumber. The people suing us have 20 plus attorneys, multiple nonprofits funding it. You can link the funding back to George Soros.
Really? Wait, how can you explain that?
So there are two nonprofits funding the lawsuit, Protect Democracy and Texas Civil Rights Project.org, and you can look at who donates to those nonprofits. And so, I'm not saying
how much money does George Soros donate to those?
I don't know that number well enough off the top of my head to say it.
But he's a substantial donor.
He's a donor.
But it's not like George Soros is in a castle, rubbing his fingers together, saying we gotta sue the single mom like that. I think that's gotta be cleared up too, right? Because when people say, oh, it's linked to Soros, a lot of people on the left will say, oh, everybody these right-wingers are just going to blame George Soros for everything, and I think that it's a little bit more complicated and nuanced than that.
There's substantial funding behind these organizations that are campaigning against us, saying that they're fighting voter intimidation, and on their websites you can see caricatures of us as Ku Klux Klan with white hoods and Confederate flags and guns.
Have you considered filing a counter lawsuit for defamation of character?
Absolutely. We are capturing this information and building a file. We are currently fundraising just to defend ourselves right now, and don't even have enough money to do that. But we're hoping that with enough traction, people like you sharing our story, because conservative media really hasn't, that we can gain the funds we need, not just to fight back, but to countersue and hold the left accountable.
Well, that's good. Hold. It's not even the left. It's just hold. That's just something that should be held accountable, right? Because
Agreed, yes.
If somebody did imagine if President Trump's administration did that to a Bernie supporter.
Yes.
What kind of news is it?
Oh my God, exactly. And I try to help people understand that. So Jude, if you want to get out of the rain, babe, take shelter.
It's okay.
So. Because I think about this all the time. So something that your viewers may remember from that day is that there was a car accident. There was a white vehicle following the Biden bus that exited its lane. It was driving sporadically. It exited its lane and it hit a black truck with a Trump flag.
Right.
The black truck kind of pushed it back into its lane, and mainstream media showed cell phone footage of only the second half where the we know where the black truck pushed the white car back out of its lane almost defensively, and mainstream media doesn't show the white car hit the black truck. It shows the black car push the white car back and say that we were ramming vehicles off the road that day. That wasn't even us.
That is why they're trying to find anything they can to try to
But that wasn't us. We weren't in that vehicle. We weren't in an accident. We didn't run anybody off the road. They have fabricated the story.
And these people were these people who did that? Were they with?
They were with the campaign. It was Biden campaign staffers. So my question.
Oh, that's okay. That makes okay.
So where's the outrage? So people are saying you ran the bus off the road and
so
y'all
the
were
Biden.
intimidating
Okay,
them. But
wait.
where's the outrage for the Biden staffer hitting the Trump truck? Because
So the Biden staffer hit the Trump. Did the Biden staffer hit the Trump truck on purpose, or do you think they could have just been frazzled and intimidated? Because I know who these staffers are. These are not people that are like cool under pressure. You think maybe they could say I felt intimidated and so like I drove a certain I drove a certain way. I was intimidated. I bumped into that Trump truck, and then that Trump truck tried to ram me up the road. I could see them saying something like that to try to like add fuel to that case.
That they could and will say that. But if you look at the comprehensive footage from, a full amount of time leading up to that moment, the car was driving with confidence down the road, swerving in and out of lanes aggressively. So it's easy to claim that when you're showing a very small clip. It'd be very difficult to defend that when you look at all the evidence. And so we have it, and we'll be putting it forth because even though we didn't get involved in that accident, they're saying that we're responsible as a group for what happened
happened in that accident.
And so we have to defend ourselves in that situation with our footage, but it costs us the money to prove our innocence.
Okay. Have you talked to like the Texas GOP chair, like Matt Rinaldi or anybody about that? I think that guy would be pretty compassionate to what you're going through.
I saw Matt was on your Convos.
He was,
Pedicab,
yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool. He has not responded to me either. He's another one that has not responded. I actually sat next to him at an event where he was the main speaker and I was a guest speaker for a short period after him.
Yeah.
And I gave him our information. He gave me a cell phone, but that's been probably over 6 or 8 months, and I still don't have a response.
You know what I'll try to do? I have to do some more like trolling and council activities, because I know he's busy. He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's even responding to me and communicating
I know
with me
it's huge.
says a lot, and so
does.
I have a personal responsibility to continue doing stuff.
That's amazing.
Right for that. So I want to make some more videos and just keep the momentum for what I'm doing going, and I'll send him this episode that we did, and just ask if you're following up because I think it is important, right? Like if you really want to protect democracy, right?
Yes.
You got to just protect people's. You can't let big governments and big nonprofits and big and multi-million-dollar corporations sue single parents because they are protesting.
That's the whole point of
that's what that's actual fascism right there. So
it really is. And what's concerning is it starts with us, but it's coming for everybody. So I think the left champions this right now because of the conservative voices that are getting silenced, but we're not only trying to protect conservative voices, but also everybody's voice, regardless of who you want to vote for, who you want to support. It's your right to be able to exercise that out in the open, out in the
right,
public.
because I wouldn't want the Trump administration to do this to a to a Bernie supporter or anything like that. Like, I really wouldn't want that to happen to those guys.
No, it
and I
doesn't.
think that at the direction that we're headed,
yes,
you're headed towards America becoming a very right-wing nation. You are. No matter what people try to say or how people try to phrase things, we are headed down a path where you're going to have a guy like Ron DeSantis become president.
Yeah, you are.
And I think in a lot of cases that's probably a good thing considering where the country's headed.
Yeah.
But I also think that if people don't get their act together, you're gonna see so much anger pent up from regular people like us that you will see a backlash against like leftist organizers to the extent that will make McCarthyism be put to shame. And ultimately, I don't want that to happen. And you also want to wake these people up so that they defend basic free speech, so that when the tide does shift, they don't become targeted.
Right.
And you're doing this to protect yourself, So that's what I think it's got to be about.
Because it's in the legal system at the federal level under this law, case law sets precedent moving forward. So if they successfully sue us for exercising free speech under this law because it offended them, and they successfully bankrupt us, and moving forward they want to sue the next person, they will point to this lawsuit to support it moving forward, and it paves the way.
It's a big deal, and
it's a
the
slippery
fact
slope.
that these conservative pundits are not helping you,
That's
really
even worse.
It really shines the light. Like
it does. Who's there for you when it happens?
Who's gonna be there for? Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, it's one of those things where you got to control the conservative politicians even more so than the liberal politicians, because they're responsible for helping you, and if they are derelicting in their duties to do that, then you know what? Why not just get these lefties to why not, right? Like why risk your employment status, your safety, your friendships to defend people that won't care about you?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely, and this has really shined a light on things for us that we never realized before. So this is the biggest trial we've ever experienced personally and literally, but it's been the biggest blessing because it's really opened our eyes to what's going on in the world of politics, our representatives, our freedoms under attack, actually knowing what our freedoms are to know how to defend them and to exercise your freedoms without fear of persecution.
Yeah. Hey, has Donald Trump or his family or anybody in his administration actually reached out to try to help you?
Good question. They have not reached out.
Whoa! So you literally are risking your entire livelihood, your kids' college fund, your home, everything that you've built. You're risking that to support somebody,
Yes.
and the person that you're risking your future on to support isn't even willing to reach out to you.
So it's been surprising to us because we really expected there to be some sort of comment about it or something. We know that he's aware of it because we have a supporter who paid a substantial amount to meet and greet Trump at an event, and he told Trump about our story and handed his Secret Service a note from me and one of these Biden is the worst shirts. And Trump said, "Isn't that a shame that's happening to those nice people?" But we've not heard anything since then.
Isn't it a shame?
I did connect.
Isn't it a shame? Buy my vaccine. Isn't it a shame? Take my vaccine. Yeah.
And I connected with Lynn Patton and Kimberly Guilfoyle at CPAC and told them our story, which she's engaged to Donald Trump Jr.
Yep.
And they did say that they're looking into seeing if there's a way that they can help either find a pro bono legal help or media connections. And I was surprised that Lynn Patton, the senior advisor to Trump on Team 45, emailed me and said, "Hey, I'm looking into it, not sure what we can do, but if there's something we can do, I'll follow up." So, I mean, that's a big deal for us, but we've learned we can't
There should be a
count
grassroots movement that goes to these people's homes with signs peacefully protesting to help Joeylynn. I'm seriously like there's got to be something like that, right, where people just go to those people's home, like
or
just actively put pressure.
Amount of tagging, or writing these people.
Just blow the phones up, like
because
go to the Capitol during the next legislative sessions, like help
That would be
Joeylynn,
amazing.
or even start trolling them just the way like we're trolling these council members here in Austin. You just go,
That would be
you go speak to the
amazing.
legislative office and just be like, honestly, like we gotta silence these conservatives and put them in camps. And I know you agree with me because that white supremacist with driving that truck is getting sued, and you're not willing to help her because you know that we need to protect our democracy. Like you just go off and just
I've been wanting something like that to happen, something that brings attention to it, because that's the grassroots way is how we've been doing it, because our politicians aren't helping us, the media's not helping us, so we've been getting creative, like with these shirts.
So I feel like you're getting some traction. Have you been making a lot of money off them?
Yeah, so we actually filed an LLC because we inadvertently started a t-shirt business because so many people wanted them. So we're very blessed that we have a fundraiser through Gibson Go that's collecting donations, and then we have basically a t-shirt company where the profits and the proceeds go towards our fundraiser.
And has that okay.
We've sold a few
look at that.
thousand.
There you go. It's okay, Gary. We love you anyway, bro.
All
right.
we sold a few thousand shirts, yard signs, stickers, and more. Oh, and I brought a sticker for you too.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I'll rock it on the Pedicab.
Yeah, heck
I made a rap song about Biden. I'll play it for you.
I would love that.
Yeah, you can share it on my thing. It's fun.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yes. Are you doing it now?
No, we'll play it
later.
afterwards.
So we're looking at over $600,000 in legal fees just to defend our constitution.
Wait, see, I thought it was 80,000.
That's what we spent trying to get it dismissed. Now we're headed to trial.
So how much have you raised so far?
So we raised $182,000.
Okay, good. So you're gonna make it.
So
You're gonna make it.
Raising enough money by $5, $10, $20 at a time with average people to fight back.
Have you talked to people? Have you talked to people at Infowars? Because they might help you.
Yeah, you know what? I talked to Owen Schroyer at Freedom Fest in San Antonio.
All right.
And I gave him our card and a Biden is the worst merch pin, and he promised to have us on and never.
Yeah, never. No, but that's what these guys do. They've talked to me about having me on, and there's never been a the follow up is like there's a guy named John. There's a guy named John Bound who does film, and he's awesome. I'm friends with him, but. I made a George Soros song, and he was gonna make a music video, and it's been like 10 months. And he's like, "I'm gonna make your video for free," and I'm like, "John, listen, just send me, literally, just send me what you've done. I will pay you $300, and I will tag you and give you credit for it. I just want this video out. Like you're just holding my stuff hostage.
Yes.
It's really frustrating.
It is frustrating because we're depending on these people. They get too busy. They forget.
But Alex Stein is helping.
Alex Stein is amazing.
Prime time.
So my son Jude is the one who made the video that said he's Alex Stein is his biological father.
Yes.
And Tucker Carlson is his grandpa, and it got Alex Stein's attention, and he's so kind and compassionate to help. He said, "What do you need help with the most? How can I help the most?" And so we're very grateful for people like y'all, the real heroes doing the real work.
And I think Tucker would have you on. Tucker would definitely have you on.
That would be the ultimate because I would
they
break
are
this open.
yes, because Alex and Tucker are on. They're pretty buddy now, right?
They are, and Alex is with the Blaze too, which is another good meetup with
organization.
Glenn
Yeah,
Beck.
yeah.
And so those would be great ways to help. We really need to get the story out there, and you know, it's something that I think is starting to pick up traction. Bryson Gray and Alex Stein were just wearing the shirts together on an airplane ride.
I know, I saw that.
That
I
was
was actually
cool.
gonna go. I actually was they almost had me perform there, but they just didn't have the money to.
That's
They're like,
so
we want you there, but we
cool.
just don't have the money to like pay for you to do this.
And so, what would your performance have looked like?
Because I got my rap songs. I make
that's
rap
so
songs about
cool.
conspiracy theories,
love
so
that.
I would just play my songs.
So you
And
just
honestly,
rap.
my Biden song is better than Bryson Gray's. Like, and that's a fact. Like, I'll play it for you.
I can't wait.
It is, and Bryson Gray is awesome, and he's great, but it's just a true statement. Like, I have a better Biden song than he does. It's just not getting the notoriety that it deserves.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool. And so you heard about us through Jude's video.
I saw
right?
that. I
That's
was
how-
like, what? This is wild. And I started clicking links and stuff, and I'm like, this is really funny.
And you immediately shared our story and reached out
Immediately,
and said that you
yeah.
have us on, and that is the kind of support that we're so grateful for. Thank you so much.
Of
for
course,
doing
no,
that.
I'm doing my best, right? Like, I mean, I don't know how much reach this is gonna get. You get like, I get like 30 listeners, right? Like, I don't get that
Hey,
many.
it takes one.
But
And share.
You know, but at least I'm doing my part to try to do
You are.
something,
You
right?
are. Mhm.
Even if I'm maybe benefiting more than you are because you have a high profile case and I'm just a guy in a bicycle. But still, I'm trying. You know, I'm doing my best, right? To like
Yes, thank
try and be
you.
helpful with this.
Thank you.
Filming on my own phone, trying to be creative.
I know. So the producer didn't show because he's
No. He wasn't
right?
feeling well.
He
He's
wasn't
actually
feeling well.
he's been amazing throughout. He's
So that's
been
why the
he's
camera's shaky.
yeah, he's great.
So that's why
he
it's-
is great. We're not bad talking.
No,
about
I'm grateful
Yeah,
for y'all having
we're-
us on, but that's why the camera is shaking. I've seen some people who are like, "You need a tripod."
Yo, I heard that. I'm like, the camera's shaking. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to make do with what you got, and you got to get things out there, and you got to get voices
Yes.
to be heard.
Thank you.
That's what we're trying to
Thanks
do.
for not rescheduling us.
Of course, especially you came here.
Mhm.
I had this happen once with a former reporter, like in March, and it was just a bad look. I didn't like it, so I don't want to do that again.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
it's a lesson learned.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
can I tell your viewers how they can support us and how they can?
yeah, please. Well, we still have time, but yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yes.
we do.
Let
So-
me see how much with the battery. Like, oh, we're at 57, so we're good. We're
Okay.
Gucci. Yeah.
So we
So-
created a website, and it's called freespeechdefender.com, which is on all of our merchandise.
We're trying to point to this.
freespeechdefender.com.
We're gonna take a bunch of selfies together
Yes,
and post it
yes,
on my Instagram.
Yes,
Um,
and so
you gotta get
all
a
of our
little closer.
merchandise has Free Speech Defender on it, but basically we feel called to defend free speech since this kind of tapped on our shoulder, and right now we're going to defend our family in court, but we hope to defend other Americans' political free speech moving forward after we win this and recuperate our legal fees, because we have applied to over 50 nonprofits for support, and they've all denied us because it's political free speech and they specialize in religious freedoms under the First Amendment.
Oh, fuck
So-
these people. Okay, wow.
So we
alright.
want to be able to be those people that help people like us.
You should also start reaching out to Bitcoin groups and Bitcoin communities
Okay.
and stuff like that. I think that would be
You
a
were
very
just teaching me about
yeah.
this.
I'm gonna set you up with a wallet, but you gotta start reaching out. Reach out to the Texas Bitcoin Alliance because that's a bit like Bitcoin and old Bitcoin specifically is literally money that's based on self sovereignty and free speech.
Okay.
So you should.
And I know
you
my
should,
husband's looked into this. I
yeah,
haven't.
you should
so.
reach out to those guys and talk to them.
Okay.
Because they're definitely, they will definitely probably be more sympathetic to your cause than
Hopefully
you.
so.
You know who else you should reach out to is Liberty Lockdown. This guy named Clint Russell does like the
Oh,
Liberty.
he's had us on his show.
Oh, he has. Okay.
I've been on Liberty Lockdown. He was very
All
good
right.
to take care of us.
Dave Smith.
I
Those
don't know
guys.
that person.
He's a comedian.
Oh.
Comedian Dave Smith. He's been on Rogan before. Those
Oh,
guys.
that's cool.
You should reach out to Anomaly AN0MALY. That guy's like is pretty big on Twitter and stuff.
Okay.
And Stein went on his thing when he made his first vaccine rap. You should ask Alex about how you can get in touch with that guy.
Okay. That's awesome. Those are great
Yeah,
suggestions.
I'm trying to think about who else. Like those are people that you would want to just try give a shot. Give that a shot, right? To see
Right.
what's
Oh, absolutely.
what's
We'll
happening.
take the shots.
Then
We'll
there's
take-
the January 6th lawyer. That guy Paul Davis might help you. I don't know because he lost
We
his job
talked to
and had.
Paul at CPAC, and he's not as passionate about our situation as others, and that's okay.
What?
You
Okay.
can't get everybody.
No, but he also has his own shit that he's doing.
He does, and we've experienced that, so we don't put our hope in any one person. Or we thought at first, like, if we could just meet this person, if we could just tell Trump, if we could just meet, and we're like, you know what? We wake up every morning and we pray to God, and He hears it, and He's working it, and He has provided financially for us every step of the way. So as these relationships develop, we give God the glory and the thanks, but we don't wear ourselves out trying to force it to happen.
Of course,
because
you gotta
it's
just tell your story and hope it works. But
That's right.
all Current Revolt guys, the Current Revolt guys might help you. This guy Tony Ortiz from Current Revolt.
Oh, okay.
They got like a 5,000 person following on Twitter.
That's awesome.
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They
And
wrote
these
an
are
article
the
about Beto
ways.
having monkeypox. It's pretty.
Oh, when he canceled his rally.
Yeah.
In San Antonio?
Yes.
that's so funny. Those like size outlets are perfect because we can still get through, and then we reach like a decent amount. And that's just what we've been relying on so far. But freespeechdefender.com has all the Biden is the worst merch, so you can buy that. You can donate to our fundraiser on the website, follow the legal updates, and see interviews that we've done on the media tab. So it's a good way to stay up with our story, or tell people about it also, because there's a little write-up and video that you can share with your friends and family.
Or there's also conservative events.
Yep, I do go to an exhaustive amount of those.
You sell your shirt. They'll probably let you sell your shirts there, right?
Some let me, and then some want to charge me like $200 to set
No,
up.
no. Then you share that. If they did, then you share that on your social media. Like,
okay.
We are literally being attacked for being conservative, and the conservative outlets are supposed to help us are trying to take money from us. Like, that is such, you go off on them.
Okay. I have started recording though, because like, for example, Kash Patel has this organization where he says he fights defamation and censorship, and he helps Americans that are being attacked. And he goes on all these shows and speaks a really good game, and we've had hundreds of people say, reach out to Kash, Kash will help you. So I applied on Kash's website, no response, saw Kash at an event, ran up to him, told him about our story, and he looked so unenthused and disenchanted by what I was saying that he was like, I don't know what to tell you, like, I don't make those decisions, and he just walked away. And I thought, okay, maybe I missed it, maybe I messed up. Saw him at another event and had the camera rolling, right? And I was like, hey Kash, like, we have filled out an application on your website before. You say you help with this, but you have not responded to help us. And he just stumbled all over himself. And those are the kinds of things I'm starting to figure out. We also recorded Ted Cruz at that same event, asking him why he sent us a letter in the mail saying he didn't want to help us. And
you have the recording. Start sharing those recordings.
I want to start sharing.
You have to start sharing.
And letting people know,
those.
because they have so much confidence in these people that they're helping people truly.
No, share it. And you know what? I'm like, and if Republicans don't get a super red majority, it's literally their fault, and that's fine. You know, because honestly. Politics are not a team sport. You vote for people based on whether or not they are actually helping you either achieve your slated goals or prevent you from not getting your like dreams and visions crushed by an oppressive hand of government,
oppressive
right?
Is the word.
And if get a little closer. Sorry about this. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah. So if they're not going to be doing that, then maybe we don't deserve a red tsunami. Maybe the best thing that happens is just a mixed Congress where nothing happens. And maybe that just is the best thing for us if the people that are supposed to be quote unquote conservative aren't actually conserving your basic freedoms and liberties.
Right.
Maybe it's better to just have a mixed government and not have a red wave.
And you know,
maybe it's better to just have nothing happen for 2 years.
When people show you their true colors, you believe them. So
you
want to vote for these people, but what are they doing? What are you watching them do or not do? Believe that, because that's who they are. And that is what has really opened our eyes in this process. And you're right, maybe we don't deserve it, or the people that are running, there are people that do deserve it, and they're canceled out by these career politicians.
Well, Arizona, like what's happening in Arizona is really important, and you got really good people.
And Virginia.
Have you reached out to like Carrie Lake and those people? That lady I think would help you.
I think you're right. So I'm stumbling. We're invited to a fundraiser for Carrie Lake at a friend's house that's hosting it, and that is in September. So I hope to make that first connection with Carrie Lake in a couple of weeks. Marjorie Taylor Greene saw what was happening on Alex Stein's video that he shared of Jude, and she reached out to Alex and was like, how can we help these people? So people like that are unafraid, and I think that they'll be able to help us make key connections. I never expect them to fix our problems, but I appreciate their support and getting us one step closer to winning this.
And Ron DeSantis' press secretary, I think, would be good.
I've been reaching out to them, but
they're also busy.
They are so busy.
Swamped.
Do you know how many people have to be reaching out? I feel like I get lost in the masses.
You probably would. I think finding an event.
I agree. And like
where she's at, you talk to her like, hey, this is what's happening. Can we please figure this out? We're getting a lot. We're getting kind of the runaround from a lot of people who we thought were conservative that want to help us.
Yes.
What can we do? I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's kind of what we've been doing. We've strategically been trying to go to these events. We either get sponsorship if it's far, or we try to go to the local ones that are within driving distance, because
there's a Republican
so
club event in Burnett on September 11th, and they're gonna have like Congressman John Carter and somebody else. I saw it like at a flyer in Marble Falls. I was thinking about trolling them, but my dad's birthday is like on the 12th, so I might just be going to New York.
Just go see family.
Yeah, and also like, I'm just kind of weighing in the pros and cons of
what
doing
an
that.
Interesting time to be in New York.
Yeah.
Have you been during 9/11 or that?
Well, I grew up there.
Oh, okay.
So I was literally there when it happened. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, there's that. But I don't know. It's a very odd. We're in some very weird, crazy times right now. Hey, do you think how do you feel like has what's happened this past couple of years, has it changed your support for Trump?
Yeah, I mean, the father of the vaccines, taking all the credit for the vaccines, pushing the vaccines so heavily was such a big turnoff for me. I think it was fun at first to do the Trump trains and to support Trump and to meet all these like-minded people and to stand for something that was edgy and exciting. And then, and I stand with most of his policies. Most of his policies align with my Christian, biblical, conservative, constitutional values, but they're not all.
Well, also being a business owner with your
I agree.
husband, yeah.
I agree, and that's important to our family, but that doesn't mean that we align 100% with him. And that vaccine thing was a huge turnoff. We are not about that. We did not get vaccinated. We did not like that he pushed it. Okay. It was so gross to me that he was so heavy on that. And honestly, it falling back on him that the Biden administration is trying to put it on him that he pushed it all out without being
when he was trying to tell you that you're going to lose your job if you don't get it. Yeah,
he did. Like he did push it out. So, I'm not into that. I also think that you and I talked about this off camera a little bit, that maybe letting somebody younger like DeSantis in versus his pride getting in the way of running again in 2024. I just don't see that happening. I feel like especially with that raid on Mar-a-Lago, he's going to want to, flex on the left and run for president again. But
I'm going to tell you what I think we need to do. I think that there's got to be a lot of this is, someone like Donald Trump is a textbook characteristic of what narcissism is. Like, this guy is the ultimate narcissist, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, he is.
And you got to figure out how do you use that narcissism to
which it makes sense why he's a good businessman.
Okay, well, in some ways he is, in some ways he wasn't, right? Like, you bankrupted, you declared bankruptcy 3 times throughout your life, and you were given multi-million dollars from your father to allow you to take certain risks. So, is he a good businessman? I mean, he's really good if you own investable assets, right? For 4 years while he was president. You know what I mean? Like there was that. If you were owned investable assets, if you were a business owner, if you owned a home, if you had anything that you owned that was yours, best president in the history of this country.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? By far.
Yeah.
You compare him to Biden, it's night and day. We wouldn't have the situation in Ukraine if it wasn't for if we had Trump in office. We would have gone out of Afghanistan a little bit differently, I believe.
Yeah.
Gas prices would definitely have gone up because of everything, but it wouldn't have gone up to the same level.
Oh, no.
You wouldn't have to worry about food shortages. There would be inflation. We would still have bad inflation because we printed 80% of our money supply, but we would also have improved supply chain.
Yeah.
And
we'd be more self-sufficient.
We'd have a much greater supply of things.
Yes, we would.
So the inflation would be like maybe 5% instead of 8%.
Which we know is higher than what they're reporting.
Yes. So you would have a better economic situation if Trump were in office now than if Biden were in office, right? So if you want to compare the two, by leaps and bounds, Donald Trump is a much better choice than Biden.
Yeah.
Right? Like Donald Trump isn't intentionally trying to destroy the United States, where it looks like this administration is intentionally trying to destroy.
Intentionally, I believe you can only make this many mistakes and horrible choices if it's on purpose.
If it's on purpose,
it's an attack against the American people, and I agree. Trump at least was in favor of putting Americans and America first, whether we agree with everything or not. Our lives were definitely way better during that presidency than they are now. Yes. I can't believe we still have 2 years left of this.
Well, you'll get a split Congress, and hopefully the bleeding stops for 2 years.
I hope.
You're going to get a split Congress. You'll get a split Congress. You're just not going to get a red wave like people thought in June. And you shouldn't. If this is what how Republicans are acting, you shouldn't get a red wave because you want the right people. You want the right Republicans in versus like if you're if you're a Democrat, right? And you want like more affordable healthcare options, or you want like student loans forgiven in an intelligent way, or if you want like better care of the environment. Maybe Democrats would be a little bit better at that than Republicans, but not if you're getting corporate Democrats that are in the White House right now or in Congress. It would have been better for the Democratic Party to not have a Democrat majority, because then there's an onus on them to elect better Democrats. And I think it's the same thing for Republicans. It's the same thing for Republicans. You want good people, and it doesn't matter. And you're not good just because you have an R next to your name. Right. Or a D next to your name. You're good because of the policies and the things that you advocate for.
Right. That's a great point. And you know what? Tulsi Gabbard, she's a Democrat.
Yeah.
She's speaking more about this administration weaponizing the law system against average Americans for supporting their political opponents than our own are.
Yeah.
And so I'm like...
Well, even before Andrew Yang got all super woke and revealed his true colors, when he was running for president, I liked a lot of what he had to say before COVID hit.
Yeah. I mean, I find myself surprised, but it's because I'm so disenchanted with what our elected Republicans are doing. I'm just like, obviously being conservative aligns with my values, but like you said, when we elect these people and then they don't stand by them, it's like, my gosh, it's the most frustrating thing to be stuck with these people. And then our lives are
and then they walk around tweeting about sports, and they're eating brisket. They're taking selfies, eating brisket, and drinking,
Yes,
and drinking Lone Stars or something like that.
And walking around events with bodyguards, not support. Like, you
Not wanting
can't
to talk
get
to
to
you,
them
yeah.
like they're celebrities, like they're above you, or like they don't have time for you. It's so frustrating. Yes.
Yeah, it's I mean, I see our Travis kind of GOP chair. I like him. I get along with him, not talking shit to him, but you were celebrating Alex Jones losing a $45 million judgment. And I'm like, well, conservatives like you, who needs Democrats? Laura Ingraham, when Alex Stein said the big booty Latina thing, she attacked Alex Stein. When he said that, I'm like, all right, well, you're revealing your true colors. Like, why should I be engaged or pay attention to you? Sean Hannity had Dr. Oz, didn't want to even do an interview with Kathy Barnett, and now there's Dr. Oz is going to be...
I can't with that.
Then Dr. Oz is probably going to lose to, like, some lunatic because of this.
Yes, I can't with
and
that.
He should lose.
He should. I agree.
And to be honest, maybe this guy Fetterman, all right, maybe some of his policies you don't agree with, but who would you rather like have a day-to-day interaction with? Who would you rather like go get lunch with or have a beer with? John Fetterman or Dr. Oz?
No, not Dr. Oz.
Not Dr. Oz. I don't want to. Yeah, not Dr. Oz. Not Dr.
Yeah,
Oz.
exactly. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
Not Dr. Oz at all in any capacity. All right. So
yes. Exactly. That would be
so. It's gross what's happening, but
it is. It really
what are you
is.
gonna do?
I know. You just put one foot in front of the other.
What are you gonna do? You focus on making
you
yourself be as self-sovereign
community.
as possible.
That's right.
And be as active. I think
Yes.
I think there were some big mistakes with the with what happened during Trump, and I think a big problem too. This is what we talked about, is that like one person is not going to save you, and a lot of people
Yes.
who were like Trump voters really thought that Trump was gonna like Trump was fighting the deep state, Trump was doing this, Trump was fighting pedophiles, Trump's like
He's not
Trump is single-handedly fighting the globalists and doing all this stuff, and you know, maybe he did more to fight that stuff than any president in the past 70 years, right? But
you can't fix it all.
You can't fix it all, and you can only do so much, and it's up to regular people to take involvement within their communities, and nobody did that. People instead were on QAnon groups, solving riddles that never materialized.
I know. It's true. I think, because I always take a Christian faith perspective to things, so it's like, what is in your hand that you can use? We've seen like David in the slingshot with the stones, and he took down a giant. Or we've seen, JL took a tent peg and ran it through a king's head. These are, biblical stories.
Yeah.
But, this is how, it's whatever they had in their hand. Nothing made them extra special or unique. It's just what they had right there within reach that they used to serve their community and to inspire other people and to get big wins. And that's exactly what you use your pedicab to do interviews with people. That's an incredible thing. I'm a stay-at-home mom that flew a Trump flag. Now I get to defend free speech. Nothing really makes us extra special. We're not waiting on the special perfect person. We are the special perfect people just by default, because we have what it takes to inspire other people, encourage other people, and start little tiny bushfires in our community that spread versus waiting for somebody to fix our problems. That's never coming. Never coming.
1,000%. So I think that with that being said, there's got to be an ownership. People have to take ownership. If you don't want Donald Trump to run and you want DeSantis, you need to get a bunch of young people to just show up outside Mar-a-Lago and hold up DeSantis flags for like the next 9 months. Just
I went to CPAC there, and there are a lot of them.
Yeah, but just keep doing it. Like literally go camp outside Mar-a-Lago with a Ron DeSantis flag, and then every time somebody like goes into the country club, you say, "Hey, how's it going? Great to see you." You just be really nice to everybody, but you just hold it at the DeSantis flag and get a movement of younger people just holding up Ron DeSantis flags outside Mar-a-Lago, or you talk to Trump staffers or find people in that campaign and communicate to someone like Donald Trump that, hey, you built this movement that's gotten a lot of steam, that's really powerful, that for the most part, people say it's about racism and bigotry and whatnot, and yes, there might be some racists and bigots within that movement that get amplified by corporate media.
Right.
But for the most part, it's just regular people who just want to live in the United States and have the freedoms and liberties that were, enshrined to them by by our Constitution.
Yeah.
And they just want safe cities. They want low crime. They want to start businesses. They want to own investable assets, and they want to be able to grow.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's literally most people who are. That's what the demographic of most people that are voting for someone like that is.
Yeah.
Right. And now you built a movement where that is becoming popular.
Yes.
And if Donald Trump is the spearhead of that movement, and pretty much every single person that got endorsed by Trump almost won their primaries.
Yes.
And they won in pretty convincing fashions.
Yes.
So a person like Donald Trump gets a chance to really bring back putting the United States before everybody else, and that is a legacy that is almost worthy of being on Mount Rushmore, so to speak.
I agree.
And I think that's what's got to be communicated with. And then he said,
but that
it would
mean
be
he
cool.
Run again.
Well, but exactly, like, and so part of him having that legacy enshrined to him is not running, because by not running and by sitting on the sidelines, you get to literally be the person kind of behind the scenes that influences the decision making of every conservative politician in the United States, and then you have a conservative majority that actually will care about these values versus cronyism and warmongering.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And imprisoning political opponents.
Yeah.
So I think that Trump said, like, I could be president for life and this and that. I'm like, well, you will be if you don't run, because you'll be the person who is forever indebted with saving America, and you're going to be the person who's like forever, who until you die, every political decision that a Republican senator, congressman, or president or Supreme Court justice ever makes, or local official makes, is going to be by your hand.
Yeah.
And that is way more powerful than just trying to fill your ego through a vanity project.
Right.
Which, running again when you're 80 years old, is going to be nothing more than what that is. I think but that's how you communicate with him. You say, listen, you want to be president for life? Get on the sidelines, hold rallies, and then you become credited for this movement until you die and long afterwards.
Oh,
and that's how you have to communicate with him.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to see what happens. I really, really am curious. If I can't wait to see what is announced and who is running.
Well, I think that you just go, you just get a multitude of people just hang outside Mar-a-Lago and hold up Ron DeSantis flags.
When we went to see
and that's it. Just hold up Ron DeSantis flags. You know what I mean? That's it. We love Trump, and this movement is going to be better served with someone younger and more invigorated. And then you have a guy like Trump who can help him out along the way behind the scenes, in a way that doesn't cause such a public commotion.
I agree. Poor Florida. If Ron DeSantis runs for president, poor Florida having to replace him as governor.
They will replace. I mean, he could still be governor for 20. It's not like he loses governorship by running in 2024.
Well, but somebody would have to fill.
Get the lieutenant governor. It's fine.
No, absolutely, but it's big shoes to fill.
Literally, just do what Ron does. That's it. It's not
just
that difficult.
Just
do what Ron DeSantis does.
What would Ron do?
Just literally do the same thing that's been happening for the next 2 years, and you'll be fine. Just do the exact same thing that has been going on.
That's true. He's a gangster.
He is. He's awesome. I think that's the direction I think we got to take.
Yeah.
That you got to take to literally have a shot at saving this country. But even with that being said, you can't rely on one person to save you, because when you rely on one person to save you, that is how you get dictatorships.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is.
So I'm saying this objectively. I think Ron DeSantis should be president. He'd be the best choice to be president. But that doesn't mean that you don't get involved in your school boards or your city council elections, or in terms of who your state reps are or your governor races are. You have to be even more involved. And then if someone like that does something that you don't like, you should openly criticize them, just like you openly criticize everybody else, and never lose that spirit.
Yes, that's great advice. That is great advice. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. This is the time more than ever to do it for our children and their children. Freedoms aren't free, and once you lose them, it's very difficult to get them back. It's so much easier just to defend them, and we're living and enjoying the times that people defended our freedoms. It's our responsibility to continue to defend them.
And if you look at it, even living in Texas compared to living in New York or
Chicago,
it's two different. We're in two different countries right now.
Yes, even from city to city in Texas, I feel a difference when I go to certain cities. Like when I leave my town in New Braunfels and head to San Antonio, it's like culture shock.
It is. It's not so bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not bad.
But
it's just a city like that. But that's always the case. City or country is always like that.
But it's surprising to me the difference just in regions where people have preserved freedoms more than others. It's noticeable.
Yeah, it is true. I bought a house out in Johnson City too, because of all that stuff that's happening.
Yes.
And it is. Well, it's nice. Yeah. It's nice. Mm-hmm. It's peaceful. We don't have to worry about things getting stolen or stuff happening.
Exactly.
It is a good, safe, secure feeling to always want to continue having.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I want for my kid.
And you want that for your kid,
and y'all's kids too.
Well, when we have those, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of that, there's a lot of stuff like that needs to be preserved and maintained, and it's got to be through communicating with people and just doing it in a way that, like, you know, you got to fight for what you believe in, and you got to do it unapologetically. But you also have to. There are also different ways to communicate with different people.
Yeah.
And you can still fight unapologetically while also being empathetic and listening to people too. And there's got to be a balance. And a lot of conservative media personalities are not very good at using that balance. They don't talk in a way that makes people want to like you or engage with you or feel like, hey, this guy has my back.
Yeah.
People like Alex Stein do a great job.
Yes.
Right?
In person, the same way on
well,
camera.
more so in person, actually.
I know.
More
and
so
so
in
many
person.
people we meet in person, it's like womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, people like, even like Marjorie Green, she's very polarizing, but when you talk to her in person, I've heard that she's like a very nice lady, will actually genuinely cares about the people that genuinely care. She genuinely wants to do what she says she's going to do. She's trying her best. And I really believe that.
I agree.
I don't know about Lauren Boebert.
I haven't gotten to meet her ever, so I can't
but
speak
how
to
she
that.
communicates, she always communicates like she's yelling when she communicates. It's a little off-putting. But
she's a firecracker in a very small package.
yeah, but Marjorie Green is like you could tell she's just super genuine.
I agree.
And Rand Paul seems pretty genuine.
Yes, I love. In my
Cynthia
homeschool-
Lomas, the senator from Wyoming, is pretty cool.
Yeah.
She seems really genuine. There is, who else? There are those people.
What do you feel about Matt Gaetz?
I think he's full of shit. He's like literally an actual he like has allegations of him sleeping around with like high school girls, and he went on and Tucker put him on to talk about the allegations, and even Tucker was thrown off by how weird he sounded.
Okay.
You should watch that segment. It was bizarre.
Was that recently?
Yeah, I think maybe a year ago or something. I don't know.
Okay.
That guy's got some creep vibes attached to him. I don't trust him, but I mean I think he's better than what these other Democrats are, but I don't trust him in any capacity. No way.
Okay.
No way.
Okay,
Maybe
I'll
I'm
have to
wrong,
look
but
into
I don't
that.
trust that guy in any capacity.
I haven't even heard of that. That got swept under the rug. I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, I think our governor. I think that our governor and the people in charge of our state are the reason that Texas actually has a chance of being a purple state, because we have the worst leadership.
I agree. It's so in other states around the nation, people are like, "Oh, Greg Abbott's so great," and they're like, "But then I come to Texas, and every Texan is like, ugh, Greg Abbott," and it's so frustrating.
Or people who are like liberal are like think Texas is like this super right wing.
They do.
Full right wing extremist
I
and all
know.
this stuff, and I'm like,
and him declaring us in a state of emergency month after month.
There's actually a justification for that, though.
And what is that? It's accepting government funding, which has strings attached?
No, it's not even that. It's you get to be the person who dictates what the COVID policies are.
Okay.
So if like Adler or somebody else wants to start issuing mandates in XYZ,
so he gets to be the one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think that's what the justification
digress.
is.
Okay.
So that might actually not be as bad as people say it is.
Okay. But I do wish that the way
If that makes sense, right? Like,
it does, and I digress, and I'll do more research on that. And that's an interesting perspective. But I wish that the way that I feel pride in DeSantis, that's how I felt about Abbott. I wish we had that for Texas. Texas, the way California sets the pace for the progressive left with their lawmaking, Texas ought to be setting it for conservatives.
But instead it's Florida.
But
and
instead
it's fine.
it's Florida.
He's like Ron DeSantis' like retarded cousin or whatever, right? That's what Abbott is at this point. It's like, but.
That's one thing I can agree with liberals on, is that I'm just not a fan of Abbott.
No, we agree with you. People are like, oh, Greg Abbott and this and these Fox, or like they'll talk shit about Fox News in front of me, and I'm like, no, go on, I agree with you. No, this is great. Please, this is fun. I hate Fox News.
Same. I'm like, no, you're not wrong.
No, I fully agree with everything that you just said. This is great.
Yeah.
But I think that type of stuff is how you can like start finding common ground with people who are on the opposite political side of you, or who think that they're on the opposite political side.
Right.
Like I've talked to people super like left leaning guests and whatnot, right? And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
You hate Fox News? Yeah. Well, I dislike that too. Like, what are you upset about? Like, what do you think that? What do you specifically have a problem with in terms of what my viewpoints are? And usually, it's like pretty easy to get hashed through, right?
Yeah. I agree. Those are great ways to connect with people on what you can agree on, and then you can at least have a conversation about what you disagree on.
Well, what do you disagree with me on? Why and why? All right. Cool. Anyway, we've talked for about an hour. How do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so please follow our story at freespeechdefender.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Free Speech Defender. We will post updates when our items are on sale or when new items are in the shop that you guys can support us. We have stickers, cups, hats, you name it. We've got all kinds of Biden is the worst merch. We have events coming up. We love the support that's coming in from all over America, even from Mexico, Scotland, Canada, Australia. We're so grateful that people follow us. You guys can follow us at freespeechdefender.com and be part of the movement and part of the victory with us. Thank
All right,
you.
hey, Joeylynn Mesaros, thank you so much for coming. We had a pretty hectic start to the day, but we're making do. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, we gotta sign off now.
Okay, I'm gonna go get
Wait,
mine.
and